Greetings, pen pals. I had a request from a subscriber to do either a review of a Pilot or Platinum pen next, so I figured I would oblige. This pen is the Platinum President. So we're going to talk about this pen today. This is a very, very traditional, conventionally sized pen. So here it is compared to a Lamy Safari and a Pilot Metropolitan. And as you can see, it's pretty much spot on size-wise, length-wise with these pens. Pretty much an average weight for this size pen weighs in at 26 grams. If you take a look at this pen, you might say, I've seen a design very similar to that before. And yes, of course you have. So let's see where you've seen it before. Okay, I almost have to tell you which pen is which here because they look so similar. So right in the middle here is our Platinum President. And as you can see, it's very, very similar to these other pens. This pen here is a Montblanc 146. The Platinum is just a tiny bit shorter than the Montblanc 146. It's about the exact same size as the Sailor 1911 Large, but all these pens are, for all intents and purposes, pretty much the same size, and stylistically they are almost exactly the same. The Sailor and the Platinum have a wide cap band and a smaller trim ring on top of it. The Montblanc has a cap band and two trim rings, one on either side. That's about the main difference. And of course, the Montblanc pen does have the Montblanc snowflake logo on top. The clips are also extremely similar, very, very conventional looking clips, and they all have a similar trim ring around the bottom. The only real difference here is that the Montblanc, this is an actual piston turning knob because this is a piston filled pen. These two are both cartridge converter, but other than that, stylistically, they are very, very, very similar pens. So if you think you've seen the design of this Platinum before, you wouldn't be wrong. All right, so let's walk through the parts here. Around the cap band, it says President, Platinum, and Japan in this sort of really nice, somewhat retro-looking font. Platinum and Japan are in upper and lowercase, and President, the word President, is in all uppercase. Like I said, the clip is a very, very traditional looking clip, and it works well. Terminates in a clip band up top, which sort of matches the trim ring on the bottom. It is a screw to uncap pen. It takes 1 1/4 turns to unscrew. Again, personally, I think it's a tiny bit short to use unposted, but you certainly could use it unposted. There's not a lot of weight here, so I certainly do post this pen. I have no problem posting it. Section is, again, a pretty ordinary looking section. It does have a trim ring at the base. It does have a trim ring at the base of the section, and a trim ring at the very, very top by the nib. It's got a really, really nice nib. Compare it size-wise to the nibs on the other two similar pens. Okay, looking at the nibs here, the nibs are pretty much the same size, but they're quite a bit different. So the Platinum and the Montblanc nibs are dual-tone nibs. The Sailor is an all-gold, yellow gold nib. The gold content is also quite a bit different. So the Sailor is 21 karat. The Montblanc 146 has a 14 karat nib. If you want an 18 karat nib, you got to go to the Montblanc 149, which has a larger nib. If you get a modern 149, vintage 149s also had a 14 karat nib. So this is so we're talking about 21 karat, 14 karat, and 18 karat on the Platinum, which we're talking about today. So we're talking about nibs that are size-wise pretty much all the same size and style, different color schemes, and different metal content in all three of them. So focusing in on the nib on the Platinum, it says President quite prominently. Again, it has that dual tone. It has some decorative work here in the complementary tone. Has a heart-shaped breather hole. It says 18K. Has a C for coarse. This is what they call a coarse nib, or a double broad nib, which we'll definitely take a closer look at here. It has the word platinum, and then 750 for representing the gold content. Now, if we take a closer look at this coarse nib, you will see a massive amount of tipping on this nib. This is a very, very huge amount of tipping material on this nib, which gives it makes it a really smooth writer and a very, very broad, wet writing pen. And of course, as you would expect, it has a somewhat uninspiring plastic feed. But this is a really nice nib, 18 karat, really nice, and that the coarse version has that really, really massive amount of tipping material, which when we get to the writing sample, we'll see how that writes, which is quite nice. Like I said, this is a cartridge converter pen, and it uses a ordinary platinum converter, which is included with this pen. That is about all there is to say about the parts and features of this pen. Again, we're talking about a very conventional design, a cigar-shaped pen. So conventional, in fact, that it's very hard to distinguish amongst its peers. So these are all very, very similar styled pens indeed. So I guess the next best thing would be to see how this pen writes, and I'm going to show you that right now. Okay, folks, what we're writing with here is a platinum President. And this has an 18 karat nib in coarse, which is really the same as double broad or extra broad. It's sometimes referred to as all three of them. Officially, Platinum calls this coarse. It has the C for coarse on the nib itself. So this is a very, very smooth nib. As you can see, it's a wet nib. Definitely on the wet side. Really, really nice writer. Like it a lot. Reverse writing. Actually works, and that takes it down to, I would say, an extra fine. So you do have two kind of extremes here, and the reverse writing is not really scratchy or anything like that, so it's pretty nice. So this writes well. I like it quite a bit. That real big chunk of tipping material really is quite something. You get a nice broad line, very, very broad line, but that's very, very smooth, as you probably would imagine. And this nib just writes great. Really, really, really nice, nice writing nib. Very, very different. I don't have too many nibs that are quite like this one. So this is just a really, really nice writing nib. A bit different, not for everybody, but I like it quite a bit. All right, I think that'll just about do it for this pen. Let's talk about this ink now for a minute now, shall we? Okay, this ink is also from Platinum, so this ink is Platinum. Citrus Black. So as you can see, what happens here is this ink starts out bright yellow and then slowly starts to turn black. Apparently, eventually, it will turn black completely over time. This is what it looks like after about a day. But I'll check back with this at some point in the future to see if it turns completely black or gets much darker than this, etc. But it starts out kind of actually pretty hard to read because it's really light, but it does turn much darker and much more readable pretty quickly. And what's nice is you get some really nice shading, as you can see here, as part of that deal. So that's pretty cool. Platinum says a few interesting things about this. It's a water-soluble ink made by blending ingredients derived from plants, such as tea leaves and iron. It penetrates the paper and solidifies due to oxidation. Therefore, it is suitable for preserving documents for an extended period of time, as it is highly resilient to light and water. Due to such characteristic, the ink color that is bright when you start writing becomes gradually black as it gets oxidized with time, which lets you enjoy the progress of changes in color. So there you go. So that is that. I have to say, it's an unusual ink, and I do like it. I just got this recently. It was actually suggested that I try it by a viewer, and they didn't steer me wrong. It's an interesting ink, and I'm glad I picked it up. So there you go. That is a Platinum Citrus Black. You saw what the spiel on the box looked like. Here's what the bottle looks like. And it's definitely bright yellow as it sits in the bottle. So that's what it looks like on this Rhodia paper. Let's take a quick look at what this ink looks like on Tomoe River paper. Okay, like we said, what we're writing with here is Platinum Citrus Black. And this is what it looks like on Tomoe River. So again, you can actually see it darkening right before your eyes, which is pretty cool. And again, I suspect this might turn almost completely black over time, but I will definitely check back in and see how that goes. I'd be pleased with it either way. If it turned completely black eventually, I'd be fine with that. If it stayed with the hints of yellow, that's probably even a little bit better. But basically a pretty cool ink, and I like it quite a bit. Very unusual ink, very unusual ink. But you know what would not be unusual? If you guys all would please like, comment, share, and subscribe. That would just be terrific. And I would very much appreciate if you could do those things. And I think that'll just about do it for this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching it, because I sure enjoyed making it. And until we see each other again, have a great day. Bye-bye.